Hi there, welcome back to my channel. It's Heather Ness. My name is Heather Ness, obviously, and I'm here to talk about numerology. Surprise, surprise. Today is my second part to my 4-part series about life paths. So if you haven't seen the first video, make sure you click right here, because in that video, we're gonna cover how you can calculate your own life path number, okay? And so in this video, I want to cover life path 4, 5, and 6. So let's start with life path 4. Life path 4s are just like the number itself. If you think about the number, it's very structured, it's very square, it's very orderly, right? There's no flowy curves to it, it's just very there. So if you think of a life path 4 in that sense, they're very structured. They are the worker bees. They are very steadfast in the way they work. They are process driven. They're really into rules and following them. For them, there is no gray in between. It's either, black or white or right or wrong. They have a hard time in that gray space where there might be some wiggle, right? And so some great examples of life path 4s would be Oprah. Oprah is a super successful life path 4, and I think it really lends into, how she's built her business. She stuck to who she was, right? She started out as being a news anchor and realized that that wasn't really who she is. At the heart of it, she wants to be a connector. And so she really stuck to who she was. And that's one thing you'll see with life path 4s is they are really authentic to who they are. They don't really know how to be anything other than who they are. And so they're very structured. They're able to, when I say they're visionary, they have great ideas, but what's really unique about life path 4s, and I think it's so special, is not only can they take the idea from the idea, they can see what needs to happen structurally to make that idea come to life. So if we're talking about a work team, right, that is a project driven, having someone that's a life path 4 or someone that has a lot of 4 energy in their numerological chart is going to be so key to ensuring that that project gets done in a timely fashion. Another example of a life path 4 would be Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a wonderful example of what a life path 4 can really build when it comes to a business, right? They're also great entrepreneurs when it comes to getting things done, right? And when you're starting out your brand new business, you can't just be the visionary of the ideas, you have to be the one that gets things done or knows how to put in a process for other people to follow to be able to get it done. And a third one that you may not initially think as a life path 4 is actually Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's a life path 4, and what I find so cool about that one is that, when it comes to who she is, and it's probably why she went back to school, kind of, right, to learn the law, because again, life path 4s are really about justice. They're about right and wrong. And so you'll sometimes see life path 4s as maybe patent lawyers. Again, a patent lawyer or a trademark lawyer would need to be very detail oriented and also all about following the rules or the law. Police officers are also, you'll find a lot of life path 4s as a police officer because they're about ensuring, right, that the rules are followed and that justice is served. And that's also very important to a life path 4 in their heart, is that it's very fair. When we're talking about a life path 4, they're extremely honest, they're process driven, they have a hard time fibbing, so they're the types that are going to be they want to be honest and they want people to be honest with them. Some great additional careers for a life path 4 would be really anything that's very structured. So like I said, a trademark lawyer, a patent lawyer, a police officer, a manager. Also, one of the things that is actually ruled by the 4 number or the 4 energy is the healthcare system. So you may find life path 4s in the healthcare system in some capacity, whether it be a nurse, a doctor, a nurse's assistant, something in the healthcare field, because the 4 energy is ruled by the healthcare system. So you'll also see them in there. one of the shadow sides of a life path 4, or one of the things that they're trying to sort of overcome, is really self-doubt. One of the things that sometimes a life path 4 can get themselves looped into is they might get really excited about an idea or a new business venture, which leads me to they're also really great in real estate. But they can sometimes overanalyze the situation, talk themselves out of it, right? Because as we all know, when we have great ideas, we can look at it from every angle, but sometimes we can go down the train of looking at it so detailed that we only see the flaws and not the positives, and talk ourselves out of it. So that has to do with a little bit of like internal belief in their being able to achieve what they want, because they like security and stability. And so change can sometimes be harder for them, simply because when you change or you venture out or you try something new, especially with a new business or a new idea or something like that, maybe a new, financial thing where you're investing money in something, that takes you out of that box, that comfort zone that a life path 4 sometimes put themselves in. So one of the sayings that I've heard in the past is, instead of putting yourself in the box, put yourself on top of the box, right? That doesn't mean that you don't have structure in your life. It doesn't mean that you don't have processes or rules that you're following, but it gives you the opportunity to be able to see all the angles of the box in hopefully a much more positive light, so that you can be a little more adventurous. They also can be a little rigid in their thinking, so being open to other people's input or ideas is really, really important. Not being so stuck in your own way is definitely a part of the lesson of a 4. Okay, so now that we've covered 4, let's cover life path 5. Life path 5s are really all about adventure and experiences. They are the epitome of, the person that's seeking to experience everything out of life. If you think of a 5, it has a little bit of structure and a little bit of curve, right? So it's a really good balance of both, of adventure, and they're also all about the 5 senses. They want to experience life in a way that they get to experience it in every avenue and every which way. So some really good examples of famous life path 5s would be Beyonce, and even her husband is a life path 5. A life path 5, they're all about reinventing themselves. They're about experiencing new things. And if you look at Beyonce's career, she has really reinvented herself many times. She started out as a group, then became an individual artist. And over the years of her being an artist, you see her transform with every new album. And so I would say that's definitely indicative of a life path 5 and wanting to experience every avenue of music. I mean, she's now in the country music field, right? And she started out as pop or R&B. And so she wants to experience every avenue of music. And so I think, obviously she's still very young and she has a lot of career ahead of her. I feel like we're going to see her reinvent herself and her music many, many times. Another great example of a life path 4 is J.K. Rowling's. So the author of Harry Potter series, she's a life path 5. And so life path 5s can be very creative, and they're very artistic. They make great writers. They're fantastic communicators. They're really the epitome of a performer, right? They love to be on stage or be the stage, right, that everyone's viewing. And so some of the things that I love about a life path 5 is their fearlessness and their freedom. They're really here to help everyone else around them realize that life is not so serious. They can also be fun, right? So, they're going to be the ones that's like the life of the party. If you have a 5 life path friend, that's who you want at the party, because they will make sure that they engage and entertain, and, ensure that everyone just has a really good time. They kind of show people how to let loose. Some other great things about a life path 5 is that, like I said, they're all about the 5 senses. So they happen to be one of the most sensual, experience-seeking, numbers. And so a life path 5 is going to be very adventurous, in the bed, if you will. And they love to travel. They want to experience not only everything in life, but they want to experience everywhere in life. And so they'll find themselves in sometimes travel-based businesses, whether it be a travel blogger, social media person, maybe a manager that travels with their person that they help. They're going to be the ones, maybe even, a pilot or a stewardess for a plane. It gives them the opportunity to be in new places all the time. That's going to be really, really important to them. Or they're going to be in some kind of expressive. They're going to be, a performer in some way, an artist, a writer. Something that's very expressive is really important to them. And they also make fantastic salespeople because they really understand the depth of people and they are able to connect, and they're a bit of a performer. And so they understand what's needed to be said in that moment to help them get the sale. And so they make fantastic salespeople because they're very persuasive. Some of the shadow side of a life path 5 that they want to be a little cautious of is that they aren't so focused on self. Sometimes they can be a little too self-serving, self-focused, because they want to experience, right, everything. And so it also sometimes makes it hard for them to commit to someone or something because they don't want to feel locked down. They're definitely the type of person that, when it comes to getting married, it's got to be their idea. If it's not their idea, they're not interested. It'll be the quickest way to get rid of a life path 5 is if you ask for a firm commitment before they're actually ready for it. And so that's some of the things that they definitely have to be careful of. They also sometimes, because they are such an experienced seeker, they sometimes take things too far, right? So like extreme sports, they would definitely be into, but they got to be careful they don't take it too far. They sometimes will struggle with addiction or the balance of partying and still being able to work life through, right? Work in, create a life for themselves. So you've got to really, the focus has to be less on excess and more on experience. So experiencing something new is really important for life path 5, but they have to make sure that they don't experience things to the point of excess, right? So balance is very, very important for life path 5s. So now let's talk about life path 6. When it comes to a life path 6, if you view the number itself, it's like almost like a little pregnant belly, right? Because the circle is at the bottom. So life path 6 is all about family, all about love. They're very loving and nurturing number. In the heart of who they are, home is very important, whether that's, their little space, whether it's just a studio apartment or it's, a big spacious house, whether their family is just their little Pomeranian dog or they have 6 kids. Home and family is going to be very, very important to them. And so with a life path 6, you're going to have, you're going to walk into their space and aesthetically it's going to be very beautiful because aesthetics and beauty is very important to them. So they're all about, not superficially, but it just makes them feel good when they look good, when they have beautiful things to look at around them. And so they're going to be, really into design. It's a great business for a life path 6 is design, interior design, even graphic design. Anything that is really aesthetic is going to be, really aligned with a life path 6. Other like some famous life path 6 would be like Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn's a great example of life path 6. She has a beautiful career. She is like 70s or 80s right now, and she looks gorgeous for her age, right? They're the types that will definitely take care of themselves as they age because that's really important for them. It also can be a little bit of a shadow side that they're a little bit too much of a perfectionist for themselves and can be a little hard on themselves and the way they present themselves. That's really important, the way they present themselves, and sometimes they can be a little judgmental on themselves. They're really more judgmental to themselves than they are to like the outside world. They hold themselves to a very high standard. because they're such perfectionists, internal perfectionists. They don't necessarily hold that everyone else around them to that same standard, but they definitely hold themselves to a standard. And that can be a bit of a shadow side for them because they can struggle with some self-image problems, especially as they age. Now, Goldie Hawn's a wonderful example of aging gracefully and beautifully. Another example of a Life Path 6 is Victoria Beckham. She's a beautiful example of a Life Path 6. She's very family focused, so is Goldie Hawn. Home is very important to them both. And, you know, having aesthetically pleasing things around them. Victoria Beckham's known to be a little hard on herself and her physical appearance. And that's very indicative of a Life Path 6. It doesn't have to be the rule, but it is a very common challenge that they face. Some really beautiful things about them is that they're very service focused. So they really want to serve and help people around them, you know, have a happy life. They are very much like peacemakers, and having like a balanced, peaceful environment and everyone around them very happy is going to be very important to them. They have a bit of a magnetism to them. So Life Path 6s, people naturally gravitate towards a Life Path 6. They have a magnetism or an energy to them that people are very drawn to. Another great example of a Life Path 6 would be like Ben Affleck. And it makes sense because he's the type of person that enjoys being in a relationship, in a marriage. Both of his, you know, previous wives or current wife, very beautiful. And I think that's one of the reasons why, well, we'll get into Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck in the next video. So we'll move on. Great careers for Life Path 6s are counselors because they're great at giving good advice. They're also great listeners. So they're the type of person that people feel very comfortable opening up to. Like we talked about before, anything in design, whether that's art, right, painting, but for them, making a very aesthetically pleasing environment would be really exciting for them. So probably something in like home design or space design, interior design or something like that. So Life Path 6 are a beautiful, loving number. They're all about home and family and love and making sure that everyone around them is happy and well taken care of. So that wraps up part 2 of my 4-part series, Life Paths. Make sure that you watch the previous video to understand how to calculate your own life path number, and make sure you click into the next few videos to understand not just yourself but the people around you a little bit better. Thank you again for watching my video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Click the little red button down there that says subscribe. Hit the bell button so you're notified anytime I post a new video. And I would love it if you liked the video and leave me a quick little comment or say hello. I would love to meet you in the comment section. Thank you again. It was wonderful chatting. See you guys next time.